Within the apps that direct them, they're just numbers. Thousands of them navigate our streets to deliver food, but usually their stories go untold.
I would really want to talk in front of this camera with not my face blurred. But we have to live in the shadows for now.
They live in fear of their bosses and debt. They're under constant pressure.
Yeah, Uber.
In Germany, many couriers working for food delivery companies like Wolt, Uber Eats, and Lieferando are from India. They take directions from apps and are often exploited by criminals. It happens in plain sight and yet often goes unnoticed.
The society doesn't know what's going on with us. They simply see us as the guys who are delivering the orders.
Outside Berlin's labor court, a group of couriers are protesting against poor working conditions.
It's systematically exploitation of migrant workers. Why you don't see any Germans doing this job? Just think. Deny you, so that you don't get any kind of job contract.
The demonstrators are here because of this woman, Shiwani Sharma.
It's not easy to go to the court because you have to go to on a mentally basis and emotionally also. But when you have a supporter, then definitely you have a motivate for that thing. Okay, everyone with you, definitely we will won these things.
Together with lawyer Mateen Beshet, Shiwani Sharma is suing the delivery platform Wolt over unpaid wages. The complaint dates back to her time as a student in Berlin. Looking for work to finance her studies, she was put in touch with a Wolt subcontractor. She was taken to a cell phone store in Berlin's Neukölln district, where she presented her residence permit and other documents. Shortly afterwards, her profile on the Wolt app was activated and she began delivering food. She says she then worked for 3 months, but never received the 3,500 euros she was owed in wages. She and other couriers went back to the cell phone store to complain, but they were told the owner had left the city, taking Sharma's money with him. A few days later, he called her.
That time I was in a college and attended the class. He called me and he threatened me. You can do anything. You can't mess for me because right now I have a lot of money. You can do anything. Then we decided, now we can go for a court.
For several months, we've been accompanying another food courier. We call him Lovepreet, which is not his real name. He wants to remain anonymous to avoid retaliation from his bosses. Today, he's on his way to pick up his wages. He's only just been told where to go to collect them. He receives part of his pay under the table. He has a part-time employment contract, but it's just for show.
Contract is just for showing the institution. They transfer this payment in your account and rest of the payment they give you in form of the cash in your hands. Many leads are working on cash, so they are afraid of Zol, maybe they will catch him.
Lovepreet's boss is an Uber Eats subcontractor, what's known as a fleet partner. The man recruits food couriers and pays them.
What's up?
We'll transfer the rest today or tomorrow.
It's already been transferred. It'll arrive tomorrow or the day after.
Hide the envelope well.
Sure.
And one more thing. Your pay packet is really thin. You have to work harder. Uber fires low performers. It's no joke. If you want to keep working, try harder. Okay?
Okay.
She's the boss. They'll fire us both.
Work harder, okay? Bye.
Lovepreet's boss pays him based on sales, not by the hour, even though food couriers in Germany aren't allowed to be paid that way. To get around the law, his boss has set up a sophisticated fraudulent accounting system. To cover his tracks, he even pays Lovepreet's health insurance premium, which he then recoups from him, as well as deducting a further 30% from his pay. We documented Lovepreet's courier work for a month. Altogether, he earned the equivalent of an hourly wage of €7.01, approximately half the minimum wage. When we asked Uber Eats about the issue, they responded, "Our partners are contractually obliged to comply with all applicable legal requirements." The company said they would review the information and that they had terminated their partnership with Lovepreet's boss.
A company worth billions of dollars who is operating in so many countries, I don't think they care about what is happening in Berlin.
Uber Eats courier Dheeraj Tyagi doesn't want to show his face on camera either. He too has been employed by a subcontractor. Uber Eats itself doesn't directly employ couriers.
You get paid by the orders, not by the hour. So if you make orders, you make good money, but if you are out there and you don't have any orders, you will not be getting paid. Doesn't matter if you stand there for like 10 hours or 12 hours.
In fact, his student visa only allows him to work 20 hours per week. But that's not enough to live on. And this was the best job he could find at the time.
That is what is happening with the students in Berlin. And since I think more and more students are coming, I think we should at least earn decent, and we can also live like Europeans, you know. It's not like we came here just to be oppressed.
After more than 10 hours on the streets, Tyagi arrives home. He lives with 4 other young men from India. They all came to Berlin to study, and all of them work for delivery platforms.
I belong to a very, very small town. So I went to a guy and I said that I want to go to Germany to pursue my master's. And he said, okay, I'll get you into a private university. I said, okay. So he said, I'll take 2,000 euros from you.
Like Tyagi, many young Indians hope that studying in Germany will lead to a better future. Since a new migration deal between the two nations was signed in March 2023, the number of Indian students in Germany has jumped by about 50% to around 60,000. Indians now make up the biggest group of international students in the country. To secure a spot at a German university, they often use placement agencies like this one.
So we do a lot of online marketing. Many students come to us from word of mouth, students who we have sent previously. So their references come to us, their friends and families. Then we have channel partners. We have partnerships with various education companies, schools, colleges across India. And they promote our partner universities, programs, and send us students.
Numerous agencies promote German higher education, often with extensive social media campaigns. They get a commission for each person they recruit.
Planning to study in Germany? Is Germany your dream destination?
They place as many students as they can.
If a student is eligible for public universities, if they have at least 60% marks, then they tend to get admission in public universities. If they have less than 60% marks, they are not eligible for public universities. So then we tend to send them for private universities.
Parmad Kumar also used an agency to get a university placement. His family sent him to Germany with high hopes.
I have not tell my home because I do not want my parents to take any stress which I'm going through here, because they cannot solve many things from there. I am not coming from very rich family. They cannot even help me financially. The loan is on their head, and they have already provided me around 20 lakhs of loan, 20 lakhs rupees. So it is around 20,000 euro here.
Half of that money is in an account from which he's allowed to withdraw just under 1,000 euros per month. That's a condition of his stay in Germany. The other half he needs for tuition fees. Kumar enrolled in a master's degree in data management at the International University, or IU, a private institution.
I went to check the website. Then I saw pictures on the platform that they have a very good campus and they were a good university. So that according to that I chose this university, and they were offering some subjects.
The IU is Germany's largest university. According to its own figures, it has approximately 130,000 students across 37 campuses nationwide. Tuition costs range from 9,000 euros to 16,000 euros. The IU's Berlin campus has several thousand students, many of whom come from India. It's located here, at the back of this shopping center.
So when I came here and when I saw all the shops, I was totally, this was not as I expected. I did not even expected 1% of this. It was totally opposite. So from that day I was already stressed, and it was totally, I felt like I have been trapped, and I have been falsely advertised, and it's totally, I cannot describe in words, but it anguished me a lot at that time.
When we contacted the university administration, they told us that the campus spans 6 levels, with numerous seminar rooms, study areas, and workspaces. They didn't address the fact that students like Parmad Kumar felt misled. Last semester, Kumar became seriously ill. As a result, he wasn't able to pay his tuition fees.
No money, no work, and no studies. I do not know. I do not know how I'm managing and what I'm going through.
He was taken off the university's student registry, which put his residence permit at risk. In order to get a new permit, Kumar urgently needed a job. The high fees charged by private universities put many Indian students under financial pressure right from the start. And there are few jobs available to those without good German language skills. That's where food delivery comes in. Couriers don't need to speak German. Students share the WhatsApp details of fleet partners. To work for a fleet, you first have to pay them. Fleet partners can charge between 50 and 1,000 euros. It's essentially a kind of admission fee. One courier wore a hidden camera to show us how the process sometimes works. At a co-working space near Potsdamer Platz in the center of Berlin, a man claimed to be starting up a fleet for Uber Eats. He checked the courier's health insurance card and his Indian passport. He kept a list of all the new couriers. There were already more than 80 names, and each of them has been charged 500 euro. But what for exactly?
We need to draw up your employee contract with all the necessary details. Social security number, health insurance, and everything else. Either you pay for it or I can't help you.
Demanding these sorts of payments is against the law. Back at Berlin's labor court, Shiwani Sharma has had a setback in her quest to recover her unpaid wages from Wolt. At the hearing, the judge ruled that the company does not have to pay her. That's because she was employed by a subcontractor, not by Wolt itself. So the other company is responsible, even though Sharma has never even heard of it.
When we ring the bell to the customer house and we said, then customer said, who is this? Then we said, Wolt. So this is not the good, when we have a fight, then they deny, no, you are not Wolt.
In court, Wolt stated that the subcontractor who employed Sharma was called IMOQX, or IMOX GmbH. Wolt had entered into a working contract with IMOX. Wolt would provide the technology, and IMOX would supply the couriers. The contract was signed by then managing directors of Wolt Germany and the managing director of IMOX, who only signed his first name, Yaroslav. Records show that IMOX has its offices in a village in Brandenburg, about an hour's drive from Berlin. According to the commercial register, this is still the company's premises. That aroused the suspicions of Sharma's lawyer, Martin Beschert. IMOX is a limited liability company with managing directors. Were you able to contact them?
No, in my opinion, it's not a real company. It's just a shell. There's nothing there, just an entry in the commercial register, and maybe a post office box.
So what's it for?
It's just there to circumvent German labor law, and maybe other associated laws too.
But finding evidence of wrongdoing is difficult. IMOX's managing director, the man who signed his name Yaroslav on the contract, appears in the commercial register as running two other German companies. There's a trading company, which we can't find at its listed business address in southern Berlin, and a construction company, which has no office at all. Yaroslav's last known registered address in Germany turns out to be an abandoned village store. There are indications that the IMOX managing director actually lives here in the Polish city of Poznan. We were able to trace him through documents belonging to a Czech company that he also supposedly runs. His address is a community of allotment gardens on the outskirts of the city. It's the right place, but he isn't here. Hi, we're looking for Yaroslav. Do you know him?
What's up?
We're from Berlin and we're making a film, and he's the CEO of 4 companies. It's about companies like Wolt. The neighbors say he's often here, but most of the time he's drunk. No one knows where he is. After searching for several days, we find him. Yaroslav?
Yes?
Nice to meet you. Maybe you can tell us something about this? You're the CEO of several companies in Germany. Do you know anything about this?
No.
This company had 50 employees, and this one is registered in Lukau in Brandenburg. Do you know about this?
I don't even know where that is.
You have no idea? Let me tell you. This company here had a contract with Wolt. Have you heard about that?
No. Wolt? I've heard of them, yes. Something to do with food. Delivery, right? It's in Poland too, but...
But it says here that you... Look, that's your name.
Yeah, I see it.
It says you had a contract with a man named Henrik Riedel. You don't know anything about this?
I don't know that guy. This is the first time I'm hearing any of this. Seriously, Germany? I'm shocked.
In court, Wolt claimed to have actively collaborated with the man. Court documents state that IMOX and Wolt had formed a joint operation with a management structure that jointly planned and directed the specific activities. The management structure consisted of the managing director of the fleet partner, in other words, Yaroslav, and managers from Wolt.
I once saw an Indian on a tram. I have nothing to do with them. I don't understand what this is all about. Do I look like a manager? You've seen my house. If I were the boss of 50 people, would I be living here?
Yaroslav was used as a front man. He knows absolutely nothing about the businesses he's supposed to have managed. His name was used for the sake of appearances. But by whom? And why? When we asked Wolt to explain, they replied that contracts such as the one with IMOX serve to clearly define responsibilities and are not intended to circumvent labor and employment laws. The company also said that the collaboration with IMOX GmbH was terminated in early January 2023 after violations of our guidelines were identified. They wouldn't comment on IMOX's supposed managing director or the statements they made in court. We show Shiwani Sharma's lawyer a photo of Yaroslav.
Ja, genau, das deckt sich ja mit meinen Erwartungen.
Yes, that's exactly what I expected. It shows what kind of game Wolt is playing here. Personally, I would say that organized crime is starting to grow in this entire sector. The app operators are certainly not doing anything to prevent it.
Jedenfalls nicht verhindern.
So they're creating the conditions for criminality right here in Germany.
Den Boden für Kriminelle wirklich in Deutschland.
Tyagi's boss may also be a criminal. Moldovan authorities have been searching for him with an international arrest warrant. But he still runs an Uber Eats subcontractor in Berlin. Tyagi and the other couriers are no longer willing to accept their working conditions.
I don't think Uber had any strike before it. It's a really big deal because never ever Indian students have done this in Germany.
The couriers organize via a 700-member WhatsApp group. Their goal, to get as many riders as possible to decline delivery requests.
The response was pretty good. For the first day, I rarely saw any bikes.
The workers also email Uber Eats, demanding better pay. But their subcontractor responds to the strike with an alarming audio message.
Guys, if someone stops you in the street, just show me the face. If he doesn't know what mafia is, we will show him what mafia is.
The bosses of the subcontractors are targeting strike leaders like Tyagi.
Take a photo of him, and I will come with my boys and we will him.
Later, two of the bosses beat one of the striking couriers so badly that he ends up in hospital. Tyagi's boss fires him.
You're supporting this, what do you call it, protest? Please stop working and we will send you the termination, sign on it, and thank you very much.
In Uber, a fleet partner can remove you whenever he wants. So there is no such thing as notice period.
By the following day, Tyagi can no longer log into the app.
So I was employed, and the next second, I was searching for work. So as simple as that.
Up until now, conditions at a rival delivery platform, Lieferando, have been very different. Couriers are directly employed, there are employee representatives, and strikes are legal.
It's not fair that work like this only pays minimum wage. We're calling on Lieferando to pay at least 15 euros for this work, and that is definitely achievable.
But unions say that working conditions are deteriorating.
For months, Lieferando has been building a shadow fleet where employees are hired by subcontractors. Lieferando is abandoning responsibility for worker safety, worker protection, and paying employees.
Until recently, Lieferando couriers had been permanent employees. But since early 2025, the food delivery company has been expanding its collaboration with so-called fleet partners, leaving its couriers to deal with the consequences. In June 2025, about 60 food couriers gathered on a quiet street in Berlin's Neukölln district, after being summoned there by their bosses via WhatsApp. An estimated 50,000 euros in cash was brought by car and handed over to a man wearing orange. The couriers were told to wait in small groups, spread out along the side streets. They then received envelopes of cash, apparently an under-the-table payment. The recipients told us they didn't even have employment contracts. The action seemed to involve a courier fleet called Fleetlery. It's Lieferando's most important subcontractor, managing around 2,000 food couriers across Germany. Fleetlery is based in Hamburg. Its headquarters is a co-working space, where Fleetlery shares a mailbox with 40 other companies. When asked about the events in Berlin, the company replied, "Fleetlery does not pay wages in cash, neither directly nor through authorized regional partner companies. If individuals act on our behalf without authorization, they are unauthorized third parties." Fleetlery has clear contractual requirements and continuously monitors compliance.
Hi, welcome to the second all-hands meeting of the year.
In July 2025, Lieferando made an internal employee announcement.
We've made incredible progress so far, and I'd like to thank you all for that. But as you know, we have some changes ahead. Lieferando relies on couriers who are permanently employed, and our current system isn't agile enough.
A few days earlier, the company had announced that 2,000 couriers would be laid off at the end of the year. That's 1/5 of all delivery riders and drivers. Lieferando said that relying more on subcontractors would make deliveries more agile and efficient.
It's important to remember that even in these difficult times, with so many changes, we as a company want to uphold our values, to keep standing for values like diversity, tolerance, and inclusivity, and of course to continue to be there for you.
On the question of outsourcing, Lieferando told us, "Clear rules are followed when selecting fleet partners, and we require more than just compliance with all rights and laws. We conduct regular monitoring, and should we become aware of any violations, we take appropriate measures up to and including terminating the partnership." Despite the court ruling, Shiwani Sharma isn't ready to give up yet. She's appealing to a higher court. We show her the photo of her supposed boss from Poznan, Poland.
We drove to Poland to find him, and we have found him.
So you went there?
We went there, and this, on paper, this was your boss.
It's now it's, you also can see it's really like fake. Everything is like a was in behind of, like everything is fake. So like this is not the, because if he is the owner, so why we didn't saw this a guy?
Wolt is based in Finland. Its global headquarters are housed in this building in the capital, Helsinki. The company recently moved in here, which was cause for celebration.
This is our new office. Like most offices,
there's even a well-produced video on YouTube showing off the various features of the office.
Views of the building. This is how we get lunch. This is where we take calls. This is where we don't take calls. This is where we talk about funny things that happened on calls.
Sharma shows us the apartment where she used to live.
The hole is damaged. In fact, you can't take a bath, then everyone see you. Because the other side is a house, the different house. And if you are in a washroom, then other guy can see you.
And how much money did she want for this?
For one room, it's 1,000 euro.
For this flat?
For this flat. And 3 guys are living there. Like 2, one my husband and me in the one room. And one is another room is 2 guys, and the third one is a single guy.
She and her husband now have a nicer apartment, but not for long. They're only staying there temporarily.
We are here from last 8 months. When you are completed 1 year, you have to move another apartment. Not here. I don't know why. So like now, I'm pregnant and now my contract is finished. Then we have to move another apartment, and we find it. So still we didn't find anything, but apartment problem is very big for the student life.
Many Indian students have limited residence permits and low income. That can be a bad combination when it comes to renting a home in the current overpriced market. This tiny bedroom is going for 600 euros per month. But for Tyagi, there's some good news. After struggling as a courier, he's now moving on.
Now actually I have another job and I don't work for him anymore. So that's why I can show my face.
A friend helped him get a job at a large supermarket chain. It's a permanent contract, paying minimum wage, and his employer actually pays him what he earns. He also now feels comfortable going to the doctor when he's sick.
Now there's a sense of security. I'll be getting paid on the 1st of this month and on the 1st of every month. And nobody's there to cut my salary. There is something like that you are not dependent on your luck. My mindset has been changed dramatically since I joined this new job.
Tyagi has now finished his studies.
So this is my university, BSBI, and this is where I did my master's. Yeah?
BSBI stands for the Berlin School of Business and Innovation. Like the IU, it's a private institution.
Actually, it's a pretty small institution, I think, because you can see you have snipes right there. So I don't think any other educational institute have snipes in the campus. I don't know what it is, but that's how it is, you know?
Tyagi's master's program cost him nearly 10,000 euros. So far, it hasn't landed him a good job. He talks to some other students about their experiences.
It's a private university, but it's good.
It's good. Better than public?
Yeah.
Better than public?
No.
So, do you think after graduating from here, you have a better chance of getting a job?
A job, right? Actually, that's a big question to every student who study in here.
Many of the companies that I've applied to, they say that BSBA is a private university and they give admissions so easily. So we don't hire students from BSBI. Do you think if you have a chance right now of going to a public university in comparison?
Yeah, but maybe I can't because I paid all 2 years of fees. It's a huge amount. It's 8,000 per year.
The Indian students call it a university, but BSBI isn't one. It's an institution that's outside Germany's formal higher education system. It works together with overseas universities, a practice known as franchising. That means that BSBI offers degrees from foreign universities and teaches according to their curricula. One example is the Italian online university Uninettuno. The BSBI website says that such degrees are state-recognized in Germany. But there are serious doubts about whether that's true. In Germany, the recognition of foreign qualifications is governed by the Central Office for Foreign Education. It told us that English language degrees from Italy's Uninettuno, which are awarded after courses at BSBI, are not recognized in Germany, as they're not regular degrees under Italian higher education law. After an amendment to the Higher Education Act, the state of Berlin now no longer grants new licenses for these sorts of franchise partnerships because of concerns about the quality of education. But existing institutions like the BSBI are allowed to continue operating. BSBI's parent company also runs a student housing facility in Zossen, south of Berlin. According to the website, prices start at €599 for a shared room. For its part, BSBI disputes what we were told by the Central Office for Foreign Education. It says that students' degrees are awarded by state-recognized international universities, and therefore, recognition in Germany isn't required. Meanwhile, Indian students continue to be placed at institutions like BSBI.
I would say there's not much difference in terms of quality of education in the private universities.
Business school like BSBI, for example, I read about them. They are mixed reports. That's
yes. So no comments on that.
Okay. Have you ever thought about skipping the cooperation with universities like BSBI or Bismarck?
No comments.
Germany's ambassador to India, Philippe Ackermann, welcomes the fact that students and skilled workers come to Germany. But he also sees a negative trend in the current system.
Some Indians, especially men, are causing us a bit of a headache because they attend institutions that we're critical of. The reason we're critical of these places is that they're private institutions, similar to universities, often with ties to other countries, and they're aggressively marketing themselves here in India. There are indications that many of these students end up in a cycle of debt, unable to pay tuition fees and working excessively long hours, often in illegal employment. A lot of the time their housing conditions are also precarious. That can't be in our interest.
Tyagi has been looking back at some of the decisions he's made.
I think when a guy wants to come to a foreign country, he takes a blind side. It will not happen with me. Maybe they are losers. I'll go and I'll get a job. I'll work harder, I'll work smarter, something like that. But no, I don't think so that they can know. How can you know? I had no idea about the colleges, private or public. I had no idea whether, I'll get a job or something like that. So if they knew that the situation is bad, they'll stay in India, they'll do something else.
Okay, big guys, yeah. Hello, everybody. It's a big day for us.
In September 2025, a self-organized group of food couriers called the Lieferando Workers Collective held a demonstration in Berlin. They're against outsourcing in the delivery industry, and they want to prevent similar practices from spreading to other sectors of the economy.
The reason that we are here in Lieferando headquarters, this is not the issue that only riders have to address this thing. It's the issue that affects the whole society. And this criminal subcontractor is not acceptable. We want legal work. We want equal rights for also migrant workers. They should get paid according to the German working conditions. We have to stop this thing. Thank you very much.
Fair treatment for food couriers requires new laws. That's where Germany's labor ministry could step in. Delivery services have recently been classified a high-risk sector for illegal employment, making the industry subject to stricter oversight. Lawmakers are beginning to question the tech corporation's business model.
It's not acceptable to say, I'm just providing a digital platform and take zero responsibility for the workers while making huge profits at the expense of those who are being exploited. That's why there's a directive at the EU level, which we also want to make into a national law.
It should happen by the end of 2026. But the directive doesn't say anything about subcontractors. And for the couriers who have been affected, banning subcontractors from the industry is crucial.
If you hire people directly, of course you have an obligation as an employer. You have to comply with all national laws. That's why we're looking into it. I'm definitely in favor of having legislation to sort this out, but I should also say that it's not easy.
While Sharma and her husband await the birth of their child, her family in India follow her life from afar.
I can talk with my family, and he knew about this, all the things, what happened about the Wolt and the rented situation, everything, he knew it. And sometime he said, okay, from this situation we can't run away now. If we are run away, then we are wrong. If we are not, then if you are not do anything wrong, so why we are run away? So still we are here.
These are the young Indians who keep Germany's food delivery business running. They came to the country for an education and a better life. But debt has driven them to work as couriers.
When I was delivering and I went past this big arena, I thought, wow, they really, sucked the life out of us and they built this entire arena, and everyone is like, oh, Uber Eats, like a big company, they might be doing something really, really good with the employees because, employees are working so hard and they build this company.